Oh hey. Oh hey there. Oh hey.
Oh, hey.
We're in the belly of the beast here. It was a grand
Artists-
feeling at the Grand.
Yeah, it was, artists are very creative about finding ways to do things.
Yeah.
When it doesn't appear there's any way you can. And then it became kind of a little bit of a derelict theater.
Rated R.
Rated R, X, or whatever.
All right, Maureen just told me I could fly my drone in the Opera House. Well, let's see what happens.
Here they come.
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hi.
Welcome to Galveston Unscripted. Today we're going to be exploring one of Galveston's most unique historical buildings with tons of history, the Grand 1894 Opera House. In 1894, this grand facility was built to be a hotel and opera house, one of the finest in the state of Texas and the Gulf Coast. Now, a lot of people don't realize that this is the official opera house of the state of Texas. Built in the 1890s, whenever Galveston was on top of its game on the Gulf Coast, one of the richest cities per capita in the United States at the time, of course there was a grand opera house built here. Thanks to the video sponsor, The Daily News, bringing you the news since 1842, Texas' oldest newspaper. Support your local newspaper, The Daily News. Quite a few acts have graced this stage. Anna Pavlova, Willie Nelson, James Earl Jones, Lyle Lovett, stand-up comedians, Broadway shows, huge acts of the time. And they were even bringing in animals to join them during these shows, such as camels, horses, you name it. By the 1940s, this opera house was transformed into a movie theater. Galveston's economy just wasn't really here to sustain it in the mid-1900s.
It was the first run movie theater. It became a little bit of a derelict theater and then a lot derelict theater.
Rated R.
Rated R, X, or whatever.
And yes, even for a few years, this was, as Maureen likes to put it, a derelict movie theater where people could watch movies, if you know what I mean. Even for a time in the mid-1900s, this was a segregated movie theater. If you were white, you sat on these lower levels. If you were black, you sat upstairs. Restoration on this theater began in the 1970s, and Maureen Patton has been here since the beginning of the restoration process, transforming this from an old movie theater into a revitalized grand opera house. The Grand 1894 Opera House is what brought life back to Post Office back in the 1970s and 80s. Now let's go meet up with the person who really runs the show around here, Maureen Patton. She's gonna give us a really close look at the Grand Opera House. Hello, Maureen.
Welcome to the Grand. Larry Gatlin sang the Midnight Choir. And when he came, I said, I know that you don't sing this song anymore, because his father got really angry with him because the chorus goes, will there be Mogan David in heaven? It says, if there ain't, who the hell wants to go? Don't you love the bricks, the brick footings?
I do.
Well, these brick footings, these walls are up to 5 rows of brick thick. And the mortar in the brick was basically beach sand. You've got bricks that are laying on sand. They're not mortared together. So we are literally rebuilding every wall. We started with the north wall, hundreds of thousands of bricks. This history is all the theaters that used to be in Galveston, because there was a time when we had no movie theaters even. And when you look back at the history, there are over 100 theaters listed in there, multiples in any given year. We had live theaters. There were opera houses before we got started.
Yeah.
This Tremont Opera House, which preceded ours, is where those artists' lofts are. It was Henry Greenwald who came to the city fathers and said, I'm doing all of these opera houses along that whole Gulf Coast, and Galveston deserves the finest of them all. And that's because we were that second largest immigration port in the country, and we were the premier city of Texas. It was Henry Greenwald who was a promoter. He raised the money to build this place, and it was the Grand Opera House and Hotel. He raised the money to do it in one day. And he raised the money from the businessmen, not from philanthropy, not from people saying, oh, we want to donate to this or anything else. He raised the money from the businesses because he said this will be good for business. So he raised the money, and they built this whole complex in 7 months. So it was built in 1894. It opened on January 3rd, 1895. This was the finest one he built, and it's the only one still in existence. And then the 1900 stars showed up. Here was the back wall of the stage right there.
Oh my goodness.
And the beautiful cupola that is so majestic there was completely blown off, and you see it with it missing. It's never been replaced. And look, a year later, It reopened after this kind of damage and the devastation of this community. Amazing that we continue to have this connection to history. And then we went into vaudeville and then to movies. Here's Mr. Martini, who bought the theater, and he's the one who created it as a movie house and all that went there. Over 80% of the wood in this building is original to the house, and that's kind of unusual. And then here's the statue that we have recreated as part of the Community Richmond Award honor. We are a founding member of the League of Historic American Theaters, and we all have the same story. I mean, so many of us have gone through the same journey and had the same crises.
It's a gorgeous entrance.
It sets the tone.
That's for sure. When this theater was constructed, the lighting systems were pretty unique. These lights right here, originally these were gasoliers, made for gas lighting, along with electricity, as electricity was pretty new, and they weren't sure how long electricity was actually going to stick around. Now, if you're sitting in these seats and you look to the right over here, you see these windows. This actually is a wall to a small alley that separated the Opera House from the front building. An alley so storekeepers could actually access their stores on the first floor.
And this is the internal wall of the hotel.
So it's almost like an alley space, right?
It was an alley space because the people who had little shops in the hotel lobby would go through this way and come in the back door.
Mm-hmm. During the opening season in 1895, this theater sat over 1,600 people, where today it sits just over 1,000. So you can imagine how many more seats were actually crammed into this space.
When it was built, there were over 1,600 seats. But, you know, we're bigger.
Mm-hmm.
We're bigger people. We're taller. The seats back then were little wood and leather. I mean, they were not super comfortable seats.
This backdrop right here was recreated using old photos from the Opera House back in the 1890s. Let's go look backstage. Here we are backstage. Oh my God, this
So
is
this
amazing.
wall is the wall that was blown out in the 1900 storm. Let me take you so you can get a shot.
The green room.
Yeah, the star dressing room.
And we're in the belly of the beast here.
Yeah, you are.
Sometimes, when life hands you lemons, you just have to make lemonade. Here's the backstory on what we're about to see in the star dressing room.
And we were just popping along until about 2008.
Tell us what happened in 2008. I don't think many Galvestonians know, right?
We were due to open our season on September 13th of 2008. And so on the 13th, Ike hit, and we would all be underwater. The water covered up to these seats right here. So all of this was water. This was one big pool after Ike. That does not nearly tell the story, and we don't have a photo of the pile of debris that was actually there earlier. And of course, we lost our beautiful 9-foot Steinway.
Oh my goodness.
So after the storm, I really wanted to, when I knew we'd lost the piano, I really wanted to save it as much as I could. And I knew immediately what I wanted to do with the lid. You can see right there in gold is George and Barbara Bush.
Oh my gosh.
And they used to come hang out in the dressing room with the Oak Ridge boys. Some of them took liberty with, I mean, there's a Liza Minnelli autograph up there that, you know, is this big. And, but look what Sally Struthers did when she did Hello Dolly, all the way down there.
It was a grand
Artists-
feeling at the Grand.
Yeah, it was, you know, artists are very creative about finding ways to do things.
Yeah.
When it doesn't appear there's any way you can.
I love it.
But let's go back out to the stage.
Oh hey, oh hey there, oh hey.
Okay.
Backstage behind the scenes.
So now you can decide, you can go up to the grand tier.
Now another interesting thing about the Grand 1894 Opera House. There are a few things that an opera house has to have in order to be considered grand. Now, those things are an orchestra pit right down here. So right up there where the curtain falls down, that is the main stage. Right in here is the orchestra pit. And you can see how large it is. So the orchestra will actually be sitting down in there during a show, playing the music that goes along with the play. Separate dressing rooms for male and female performers. Side stages on either side of the stage, and a fly space above the stage, which can be identified mainly from the outside of this opera house. When you look at the top of the opera house, you can see the fly space protruding above the roof with the mansard roof sides. Let's go take a look at that fly space.
Are you ready for my close-up?
Yes. Could you come backstage, please? Close up. Headed all the way up to the top. All the way up. Oh yes, this is great. Oh yeah. Look at all these sandbags, right? I mean,
Yes, we're still on a counterweight system.
I love it.
So anything that has a lot of scenery changes, there are two guys up here
Oh my gosh.
pulling them, and you don't hear.
Yeah, you don't even know, yeah.
Here they come.
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hi.
Got the sandbags, the counterweights. Oh, that is so cool. This is awesome. How would these work? Can you tell me how these would work?
Piece you're trying to move in and out.
Yeah.
You undo one of these. It's called a hammer, and then you just pull like a counterweight, so it'll move the ropes in and out. Like this one probably has just got lights on it. So each one is connected to a different pole. So these are scenery poles, and then you have these heavier ones that are on the lighter wires. It used to be hemp, but it's no longer hemp, obviously. It's cotton rope.
I didn't realize they were using hemp rope, you know? That's really cool.
But I love that it looks like the internal part of the ship.
It really does. I mean, it's rigging, you know?
And then when you have if you have more people on the other side, then they use a catwalk and they
Oh, see. Okay.
to the other side if they have to get to
The catwalk, right? I love it.
and nobody can see you, which is cool.
Let's try not to fall down here.
We'll go down to the stage and we'll go up all the way up to the very top part of the bridge as well.
All the way down to the stage. Here we are on the second tier, and you can see these boxes right here. Maureen, can you tell me about the boxes?
Originally, there were 4 boxes per side. There would not have been boxes on the top level because that was the servants' gallery. This is not necessarily black and white. This was just servants. You sat in boxes in the early days to be seen, not to see. And in some ways, boxes today are still kind of like that because they're terrible seats. The best boxes are the mezzanine boxes. You get a better vantage point from there. But all you have to do is be sitting in one of those boxes, and I could walk upstage, and you'd find that all of a sudden I was gone. They don't see me at all. So if anything is happening upstage, you lose it.
Yeah.
You lose it fairly quickly. So they're great for a static concert. You know, if you've got Lyle Lovett standing in the center or whomever, pianists, you name it. But if you're doing any kind of a theatrical event, a ballet, anything like that, it's a Broadway show, you're going to lose some of the sight lines. They were built for people to be seen, not to actually witness the show.
Now here we are on the third level to really give you a sense of scale. Now we're looking straight down. This is pretty steep right down here, but it really gives you an idea of how tall and open this space is. Now what's amazing about this theater is someone could be down on the stage and whispering, and you would be able to hear every word. The acoustics in here are amazing.
The big box in the middle is for our spotlights and also for projector if we do anything that has projection.
Right up here we have the projection booth with very old lighting systems. And another thing that makes a Grand Theater grand are the fixed lighting systems. I forgot to say that earlier. Now I don't know about you, but I don't know if I would want to sit on the first row. I think this one right here would do. just fine. All right, Maureen just told me I could fly my drone in the Opera House. Let's see what happens. Some notable performers at this opera house include Ray Charles, Liza Minnelli, Tommy Tune, Chubby Checker, B.B. King, The Beach Boys, and many, many more. And the opera house is still hosting performances to this day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you learned anything in this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and share this video. A special thanks to everyone here at the 1894 Grand Opera House, especially Maureen Patton, for showing us around and allowing me to come inside and explore this Grand Opera House, one of Galveston's true historic gems. Last year, Maureen and I recorded a podcast. It's audio only. Go check out that podcast on the Galveston Unscripted podcast feed. She has some amazing stories of some of the acts that have come through here and preservation stories, covering a lot of the things that we didn't even talk about today. Go check out that podcast. Maureen is an amazing storyteller. Thanks for walking with me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Galveston Unscripted.
And we drove him in. He was exhausted. You could tell he was just exhausted. He was just snoozing at the back seat. Stage manager there. As we kind of went over the causeway and we were coming into town, his stage manager said, "Would it be an imposition to drop the trunk off at the theater so we don't take it to the hotel and go back?" I said, "No, not at all. We're only 5 blocks away." I said, "Not a problem." And from the back seat, I hear, "Besides, you really want me to see your theater, don't you?" You know, those resonant tones.